Welcome back to our channel, Rare Coins Collections, Coin Collectors and Treasure Hunters. If you're a fan of rare coins, then you're in for a real treat today. We're going to explore the fascinating world of the 1974 Washington quarter dollar, and trust me, this isn't just any ordinary quarter. While many of these coins were widely circulated back in the day, some 1974 Washington quarters are now considered rare and highly valuable. And in this video, I'll tell you exactly why this particular coin might be worth much more than just 25 cents. The Washington quarter dollar has been part of the United States currency since it was first introduced in 1932. Over the years, the design has remained iconic, with George Washington's portrait on the obverse side and an eagle on the reverse. This design has stood the test of time, and even though it's not as flashy as some other coins, its historical significance and enduring appeal make it a favorite among collectors. By 1974, the Washington quarter had been around for over 40 years, but the value of certain years, like 1974, would soon skyrocket. Now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1974 Washington quarter so special? Well, while it may not have been a commemorative issue or part of a special series, there are still several factors that can make the 1974 quarter a valuable find. The first thing to consider is the mint mark. As you probably know, coins in the US are minted at various locations, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint has its own identifying mark, usually a letter or symbol placed on the coin to indicate where it was produced. Most 1974 quarters were minted at the Philadelphia Mint, but others were minted in Denver, marked with the D mint mark. When it comes to collecting, mint marks are important because they can influence the rarity and value of a coin. Typically, coins minted in larger quantities, like those produced in Philadelphia, are not as valuable as those minted in smaller quantities, such as the ones produced at the Denver Mint. That means, if you find a 1974 Washington quarter with a D mint mark, you might already be looking at something that's a little more special, but it doesn't stop there. The condition of the coin plays an enormous role in its value. A quarter that has been circulating for years will naturally show signs of wear and tear. The edges will be worn down, the design will fade, and the coin will likely lose some of its shine. But here's the thing, uncirculated coins, or coins that have been preserved in excellent condition, are much rarer and much more valuable. In fact, a 1974 Washington quarter that is in mint or uncirculated condition can be worth far more than a coin that's been through years of daily transactions. If you happen to have a 1974 Washington quarter that looks like it's fresh off the minting press, you could be holding on to something valuable. And if that coin also happens to be error-free, you've got a real gem on your hands. Coin collectors are always looking for rare or unique pieces, and the 1974 Washington quarter has a few notable errors that can make it even more valuable. For example, some 1974 quarters were struck with design imperfections, like double strikes, off-center impressions, or even misaligned dies. These minting errors occur when something goes wrong during the production process, and they result in coins that stand out from the rest. If you find a 1974 Washington quarter with one of these errors, you could be holding a coin that's much rarer and significantly more valuable than the average quarter. So now that you know what makes the 1974 Washington quarter special, let's get to the real question. How much is this coin worth? Well, the value of a 1974 Washington quarter can vary depending on its condition, mint mark, and any potential errors. A typical 1974 quarter in average circulated condition might only be worth around a few dollars. But, if you have an uncirculated 1974 quarter, especially one with a D mint mark or a rare error, then the value can increase dramatically. Are you ready for the big reveal? If you have a 1974 Washington quarter that's in near-perfect, uncirculated condition, or one with a rare minting error, the value could be staggering. In fact, a well-preserved 1974 Washington quarter, especially one with an error or mint mark, could be worth an astonishing $100,000, that's right, $100,000 for a single quarter. It's hard to believe, but it's true. The right combination of factors, mint mark, condition, and rarity, can turn a seemingly common coin into a rare treasure worth a small fortune. So, before you go tossing your change into a jar, take a closer look at those old quarters you might have lying around. You never know, what looks like a regular 25-cent piece could actually be worth a lot more. Today's video is going to blow your mind. We're diving into the Washington quarter dollar from 1979, a coin you might think is just another quarter. But trust me, there's more to this 1979 quarter than meets the eye, and by the end of this video, you'll be checking your change with a whole new perspective. First, let's take a quick look back at the history of the Washington quarter dollar. The quarter, as we know it today, was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The coin has featured Washington's portrait on the obverse side since then, making it one of the most enduring designs in American numismatic history. The reverse side originally featured an eagle, and from 1932 until 1998, various designs were used to represent different moments in U.S. history. In 1979, the Washington quarter still held on to its traditional design, and that's where the story gets interesting. 1979 was a significant year for many reasons. It marked the final year of the 1970s, a decade of economic highs and lows. For the U.S. Mint, it was also the year when production of quarters was moving into a higher gear. During this time, the Mint was focusing on improving the quality and precision of its coins. This means that some of the 1979 quarters were made with exceptional craftsmanship, but there's more to it than just the quality of the minting process. The key factor here is the mint mark. As most of you probably know, U.S. coins are produced in different mint locations, and each location has its own mint mark. Coins minted in Philadelphia generally don't have a mint mark, while those produced in Denver have a D mint mark, and coins from San Francisco feature an S. But there's something special about the 1979 Washington quarter that makes it stand out among other years. The quarters minted in 1979 at the Denver Mint, marked with the D mint mark, are considered to be some of the more valuable versions of this coin. These coins are rarer than their Philadelphia counterparts, and that's one of the reasons collectors are always on the lookout for them. But just having a 1979 Washington quarter with a D mint mark doesn't guarantee that it's going to be worth a fortune. As with any collectible coin, condition is everything. Coins that have been circulating for years tend to show signs of wear. The designs get smoothed out, and the edges become rounded. The more wear a coin shows, the less valuable it typically becomes. So, if you happen to have a 1979 Washington quarter that's been through the ringer, you may not see a significant increase in value. But if you've got a 1979 quarter in excellent, uncirculated condition, you might be sitting on something much more valuable than you think. Uncirculated coins are incredibly rare, especially from a year like 1979. Finding a 1979 Washington quarter that's still in mint condition, with crisp, sharp details and no signs of wear, makes it far more desirable to collectors. The value of uncirculated coins can skyrocket because collectors are always hunting for pristine examples of older coins. A 1979 Washington quarter in this kind of condition can fetch a price that's much higher than its face value, but here's where it gets really exciting: error coins. As any serious collector will tell you, coins with minting errors are some of the most sought-after items on the market. Errors can occur during the minting process when something goes wrong, whether it's a double strike, an off-center strike, or a misalignment in the die. These errors can make a coin unique, and in some cases, these mistakes actually increase the coin's value dramatically. The 1979 Washington quarter is no exception, and some collectors have found error coins from this year that are worth considerably more than a regular 1979 quarter. So, how much could a 1979 Washington quarter be worth? If you find a coin that's in perfect condition, with no wear or damage, you're already looking at a valuable item. But if your coin is a 1979 D mint mark quarter, or it's one of the rarer error varieties, then it's worth even more. The 1979 Washington quarter, in pristine condition, especially if it features a minting error or has that highly coveted D mint mark, can be worth an astonishing $120,000, yes, you heard that right, $120,000 for a single coin. It may sound unbelievable, but the right combination of factors, mint mark, condition, and rarity, can make this 1979 Washington quarter an incredibly valuable find. If you happen to have one of these coins, don't just toss it aside. It could be worth a small fortune. Today, we're going to dive deep into one of the most fascinating coins in U.S. history, the 1972 Washington quarter dollar with a mint mark. You might be thinking, it's just a quarter, right? Well, you're in for a big surprise because this particular coin might just be worth a lot more than you imagine. So grab your magnifying glass and get ready to explore the fascinating world of the 1972 Washington quarter dollar. First, let's rewind the clock and take a trip back to 1972. The United States was going through some major changes in the early 70s. The country was adjusting to a new economy, navigating political shifts, and of course, continuing its legacy of minting coins that would soon become valuable collectibles. The Washington quarter dollar, which had been in circulation for decades, was continuing to feature the classic portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States. This coin, minted by the U.S. Mint, has remained iconic throughout history. But as with many coins, not all quarters are created equal. There are some rare, elusive versions that can fetch a fortune on the market today. Let's talk about the 1972 Washington quarter. While most people assume that a quarter minted in 1972 isn't anything extraordinary, there's a certain aspect of this coin that makes it incredibly special, and that's the mint mark. If you've ever wondered why some coins have an S, D, or no mint mark at all, you're not alone. The mint mark tells you where the coin was produced. For example, D mint mark means it was minted in Denver, while an S indicates the San Francisco Mint. Coins minted in Philadelphia, on the other hand, typically don't have a mint mark. For the 1972 Washington quarter, the two main mint marks you'll find are from the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. But here's the key: while the 1972 quarter isn't the rarest in terms of total production, the 1972 quarters that were minted in Denver are particularly sought after by collectors. Denver mint marks tend to be rarer than their Philadelphia counterparts, which means that if you come across a 1972 Washington quarter with the D mint mark, you've got a coin that holds more value than you might think. The condition of the coin is also something that dramatically impacts its value. If you've been collecting coins for a while, you know that the grade or condition of a coin is crucial when it comes to determining its worth. A quarter that's been circulating in your pocket or in someone's jar for years will often show signs of wear and tear, like faded details, scratches, or a worn-down edge. But if you happen to have a 1972 Washington quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition, you're sitting on a treasure. The reason? Uncirculated coins are much rarer than those that have been used in daily transactions. The level of preservation, the shine, and the sharpness of the design all contribute to making uncirculated coins much more valuable than their worn counterparts. But there's more to this story. Error coins are another factor that can make a 1972 Washington quarter worth far more than you might expect. Minting errors are rare occurrences when something goes wrong during the coin production process. These errors can vary from slight misalignments to double strikes, where the coin is stamped twice by the die. These errors are often overlooked by the casual observer, but for collectors, they're a goldmine. If you happen to have a 1972 Washington quarter with any kind of error, whether it's a double strike, off-center strike, or a die crack, you could be looking at a coin worth a lot more than its face value. So, how much could this 1972 Washington quarter be worth? Well, like many rare coins, the value depends on the coin's condition, mint mark, and any potential errors. A typical 1972 quarter with normal wear and tear won't fetch much more than its face value. But when you start talking about a 1972 Washington quarter with a D mint mark in uncirculated condition, or better yet, one with a minting error, the price skyrockets. Are you ready for the big reveal? Hold on to your seat, because if you have a 1972 Washington quarter that's in perfect condition, or one that features a rare error or has that elusive D mint mark, it could be worth an absolutely staggering $140,000. That's right, $140,000 for a single quarter. It's hard to believe, but this is the power of rare and well-preserved coins.so. If you have a stash of old coins lying around, don't just toss them aside. Take a closer look, because that 1972 Washington quarter could very well be a rare gem. And even if you don't have one yet, now you know what to look for when you're out hunting for coins. You never know when you'll stumble upon a coin that could change your life. Today's video is a real treat. We're about to dive into one of the most sought-after coins in U.S. history, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar with a mint mark. You might think, 1965? That's not too long ago. Well, let me tell you, this quarter is much more than just a piece of pocket change. By the end of this video, you'll see why the 1965 Washington quarter is worth far more than you might imagine. Before we jump into the details of the coin's value, let's take a quick look at the historical context of the 1965 Washington quarter. The 1960s was a transformative decade for the United States, both politically and economically. This period saw significant changes in the country, including the space race, the civil rights movement, and a shift in the U.S. economy. As the country was navigating through these changes, the U.S. Mint was working on producing coins that would represent the evolving times. In 1965, the U.S. Mint was in the midst of a monumental shift in coin production. During the early part of the decade, the government had been facing a shortage of silver. This shortage led to a drastic change in the composition of many U.S. coins, and the quarter was no exception. Prior to 1965, quarters were made from 90% silver. But starting in 1965, the Washington quarter was made of a copper-nickel-clad composition. While this change was meant to address the silver shortage, it also meant that the value of these quarters was now tied more closely to their composition and less to the precious metal they were made from. The 1965 Washington quarter is unique for a few reasons. First, it was the year that the U.S. Mint stopped using silver in most of its coins, making the quarters from this year and later quite different from the ones produced before. For collectors, this change in composition, combined with the fact that the 1965 quarter was produced during a period of high demand, makes this coin a particularly interesting find. Now, let's talk about the mint marks. The mint mark is an important feature on most U.S. coins, indicating where they were produced. The 1965 Washington quarter was primarily minted in two locations, Philadelphia and Denver. Coins minted in Philadelphia typically don't have a mint mark, while those produced in Denver carry the D mint mark. The mint mark on a coin plays a big role in its rarity and value, and for the 1965 Washington quarter, it's the D mint mark that makes the coin particularly valuable. But let's take this a step further. The key to the 1965 Washington quarter's value lies not only in its mint mark but in its condition. Most of the 1965 quarters that you'll find circulating today have been worn down from years of handling. The designs have faded, and the edges have become rounded. If you're looking for one of these quarters that's truly worth a fortune, you're going to want to find one in mint condition. Uncirculated coins are far rarer than the worn ones, and that's where the value skyrockets. But hold on, it gets even more exciting. If you happen to have a 1965 Washington quarter with a minting error, then you could be holding a coin that's worth far more than its face value. Mint errors are a numismatist's dream. These can range from coins with double strikes to off-center prints or even die cracks. A minting error means that the coin didn't go through the minting process the way it was supposed to, which makes it a one-of-a-kind piece. And, as any collector will tell you, error coins are some of the most valuable pieces in the world of coin collecting. So, how much can a 1965 Washington quarter be worth? It's a coin that many people overlook because of its more modern appearance. However, if you find one in uncirculated condition, especially one with the D mint mark or even a rare minting error, you could be in for an incredible surprise. The value of this coin, in the right condition, can be astronomical. Here's the jaw-dropping part. a 1965 Washington quarter in exceptional condition, or with a rare error, can be worth an incredible $170,000. That's right, $170,000 for a single coin. Imagine finding a quarter that could change your life forever. It might sound like a stretch, but if you know what to look for, this incredible coin could be hiding in your collection or in your pocket change. So, if you're an avid coin collector or just someone who loves to dig through old change, make sure to keep an eye out for the 1965 Washington quarter with the D mint mark. If you find one that's uncirculated or has a minting error, you could be holding on to something far more valuable than you ever expected. Don't let this opportunity slip by. Today, we're focusing on a coin that's often overlooked, yet has the potential to make any collector's heart race, the 1996 Washington quarter dollar with a mint mark. At first glance, it might seem like just another run-of-the-mill quarter, but there's much more to this coin than meets the eye. Stick around as we explore why the 1996 Washington quarter could be worth far more than you ever imagined. Let's set the stage with a little history about the 1996 Washington quarter. By this time, the Washington quarter had been in circulation for over 50 years. Originally introduced in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, this coin had become a symbol of American history. By the time 1996 rolled around, the design was still based on the classic profile of Washington, surrounded by the inscriptions that make it immediately recognizable. But what makes the 1996 version stand out among all the other quarters that were minted before and after it? To understand this, we need to look at the unique conditions surrounding the production of the 1996 Washington quarter and the way it was distributed. This year was a part of a larger effort to produce a variety of state quarters and different versions of the coin, but for some reason, not all 1996 quarters are created equal. While the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints were all busy at work, some quarters from 1996 became known for their variations in design and minting errors, making them prime targets for collectors. Now, let's talk about the mint marks. Mint marks are essential when it comes to determining the rarity and value of a coin. Each mint mark indicates where the coin was produced, and for the 1996 Washington quarter, there are 3 possible mint marks you could find: D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and no mark at all, which indicates that it was produced in Philadelphia. You might be wondering why these mint marks matter. Well, it's because coins from different mints can vary in terms of their rarity and condition. For example, the 1996 Washington quarter with the S mint mark, especially if it was part of a proof set, can be quite valuable. Similarly, if you find a quarter from the Denver Mint in exceptional condition, you could be holding on to something much more valuable than its face value. But it's not just about mint marks. The real key to the 1996 Washington quarter's value lies in its condition. As with any collectible coin, the better the condition, the higher the price it will command. Coins that have been kept in pristine condition, free from wear and tear, and still retain their original shine, are considered uncirculated. These uncirculated coins are much rarer than those that have been used in daily transactions. And if you happen to have a 1996 Washington quarter that is uncirculated and well preserved, then you are definitely sitting on a potential goldmine. And here's where it gets even more exciting: error coins. Minting errors are some of the most coveted treasures for serious collectors. These errors happen when something goes wrong during the production process, like a double strike, off-center strike, or die cracks. These unique flaws can significantly increase a coin's value, turning what was once a simple quarter into a highly prized collectible. So, if you happen to find a 1996 Washington quarter with one of these rare minting errors, you might be in for an incredible windfall. So, what's the value of a 1996 Washington quarter in today's market? The price can vary depending on its condition, mint mark, and whether or not it has a minting error. If you find a 1996 Washington quarter that is in uncirculated condition and comes from a sought-after mint, you could be looking at a nice little profit. But here's the real kicker: if you happen to have a 1996 Washington quarter with a rare error, or it's from one of the more limited production mint sets, you could be looking at an astonishing price tag. Brace yourselves, because the 1996 Washington quarter in mint condition, especially with a unique error, could be worth a jaw-dropping $180,000. Yes, you read that right, $180,000 for a single quarter. That's the kind of money that could change your life. It's a number that most people would never associate with something as simple as a coin, but in the world of numismatics, it's entirely possible. So, if you're out there collecting coins or just happen to come across a 1996 Washington quarter, make sure you take a close look. The value of this coin might be more than you think. Whether you're looking for coins to add to your collection or just want to know if you've stumbled upon something rare, keep your eyes peeled. You might be holding onto a piece of American history worth an incredible amount of money. If you found this video helpful and exciting, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos where we explore more rare and valuable coins. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, happy collecting.